Hello and welcome to the KOFISI Connect podcast, your source for a wealth of roundtable discussions on the workplace and business, as well as cultural news and trends from the diverse and dynamic continent of Africa. I'm your host, Richard Okenye, and today I'm very pleased to introduce Geoffrey Muindi, founder, Dive Marketing and Gaming Newsbyte. This being the Creativity Month at KOFISI, we're having a look at the creative playbook of gaming and marketing as per what Geoffrey Muindi is designing across these two businesses. Geoffrey, thank you very much for coming through.
Thank you for the invitation.
How's your day going?
Good. It's cold, and we are here to do what we do best.
Yeah.
Yes.
Thank you for coming through again. So maybe a little introduction into who you are, your companies. You have a couple of them going on, but mostly today we are looking at the ones that involve a lot of your creative aspects, which is Dive Marketing and Gaming Newsbyte. Maybe just to let us know what those both of them do.
Oh, nice. So I'm a founder of Dive Marketing. Dive Marketing was born in the age of digital. So Dive means digital innovation, value, engagement. So we want to, our thought was, why don't we amplify communications of brands in the digital space? So through innovations, so we create value and we make sure their brands engage with their target audience. So that's how Dive was born in the year 2022. So I had a small stop and a small break from work, and I decided to go and do what I do best, so which is marketing. And I wanted to have a focus clearly in the digital space, because I was coming from a media background. For 8 years I was in the mainstream media. So over and above the ATL and BTL, there was always brands not taking space and taking part in the digital space. And that's how Dive Marketing was born. And over and above that, I'm in the gaming space. That's betting. And betting, there's a lot of marketing that is involved. And Dive Marketing is privileged to be managing a couple of brands in the gaming space. So creativity is involved from scratch, because there's no way you can amplify the brand's communications, which is marketing, without creativity. So, and I'm happy to be part of this podcast to be talking about creativity, because that's what basically drives communication. All right.
Nice. And you're a creative person. Of course, running creative businesses requires that, you yourself see beyond what your team, of course, is going to implement.
Yes.
And your two businesses live in industries where competition is very intense.
Yes.
Which is in marketing, the digital space, and Gaming Newsbyte, which is also digital, on the digital landscape. How do you take creative risks in either of these businesses without falling in the traps of gimmicks, whether in marketing or even in news that you put out in terms of gaming?
I would say creativity risk, so long as it does not affect the engagement with your target audience, it's worth the taking. But if it's not going to amplify your brand value and it's not communicating the message to the target audience, which is your TA, then it's a gimmick. So I would say creativity is what drives communications. There needs to be no break. So creativity needs to amplify what exactly the brand is looking at. And most of the creative departments, and that's why you can bear me witness that most brands that are multinational, they always go for creative agencies because they don't want a break. They want to offer a communication that is tailor-made to their target audience. They need to offer services and communication out there, and they make sure the message syncs to their target audience. There is no break. So creativity is, in terms of the risk element of it, I would say any creativity that is not communicating the brand voice, is a risk. But again, there's a way guys in marketing, they try to manage that, because without it, of course, without creativity, and you can see brands out there, they're trying to do very well in creativity and the way they communicate out there, be it ATL, be it BTL, be it digital. You can see different executions in the market that are well curated.
So you are a big proponent of taking those risks, as long as, of course, you said it's aligned with the brand.
Yes, so long as it's in line with the brand value. And what is your brand value, and what are you looking at to communicate your brand out there? What are the misses? What are the pain points that you need to address?
Okay.
Because every brand is, of course, having some issues. By the time you try to plan for your campaigns, okay. So it's not an issue of we just want to market our brand, but there are pain points that you need to address. Okay. So how do we address this? Okay. So that's where creativity comes in, because it's not a copy paste. We've seen brands that are going to the market with a copycat creatives, and you've seen TV commercials that are almost look like what in 90s used to be. And we can bear witness, guys who were there in 90s, there are TV commercials that you can resonate with. The Fix King, all those brands, they used creative guys, and the execution was actually memorable, and we can always remember. So those risks, you for a brand to take that risk, it's a gimmick if it's not addressing your values, and it's not communicating to the target audience. Yes.
All right. So Gaming Newsbyte is, and I did check that out online, bite-sized news for a fast audience in the gaming space. But when we speak of bite-sized content, again with the short concentration spans that has become to be known with the digital landscape, is that you need to have a lot of strategy behind it to ensure that this is captivating as fast as possible. Yes. How do you decide what's covering and how short form to make it so that it's consumable with a large audience?
Okay, so Gaming Newsbyte is a platform. It's a media platform only speaking to the gaming and the betting market. So it's an international brand covering Africa across different continents. So how we do our content is we don't want to do content basically because there's a press release. Okay, so our editors make sure what we publish is adding value to the gamers, to the operators, and to the service providers. Because a service provider wants to communicate his casino game in a way that the player would understand. Okay, so if it's a PR content, it's a PR content because we are limited by law. The things that you can push out there as content for gaming, because you have to address the responsible gaming. You have to address the different areas that you need to cover in your story. So our editors sit down and look at what is the value proposition of this news bite. So that's why we call it a bite-sized. Bite-sized meaning that there's a value proposition in it. So does it speak to the audience that the publisher, that the operator wants to push out there? If it's a service provider, if it's a PR article, does it speak to the ethos of gaming, and does it address the responsible gaming aspect of it? So that we make sure it is it's precise, direct to the point. So because we choose stories based on the value they add to the consumer, because I don't want to come and read a story, okay, that is, at the end of it, there is no value in my life. Okay, so I need to read a story that at the end of it, I'll get something out of it. So what we tell our editors, and we sit down, we say it, this bite-sized needs to be precise, straight to the point. Okay. Yes, without affecting creativity, without affecting the story. It's not about the quantity, but the quality of that story.
Right.
Yes.
Some of those techniques like quality over quantity and maybe others you can mention to us that you've borrowed from that part of gaming and used it on Dive Marketing. You call yourself a cheerleader at this point. Maybe we can know how that cheerleading is also a creative technique, or if there are more that you've been able to marry from one of this, from gaming over to marketing.
Yes, there are quite a number of executions that you learn in media and also in the communications, which is now the bit of marketing. How do you execute those communications? So we've borrowed a couple of things, and being the gaming space, I interact with a lot of people, and I participate in many conferences, and there's a lot of executions that are coming up just to address the consumer, and majorly is gamification, because we've realized right now that there's a way the user journey sometimes is compromised. You start well, but you don't at the end. So there's a loose end into the funnel. Mm-hmm. So the customer comes in, he will purchase something online. So you create his account, be it in e-commerce, but in the checkout, they don't check out. So where is the break? Mm-hmm. So how do we go and do retargeting for this particular customer? Mm-hmm. Be it in gaming, someone registers but doesn't deposit. That means you have a customer, you have a database that is not complete. So this customer came in, and at the end of it, he did not place even a bet. Perhaps he even deposited, but he never placed a bet out of it. Mm-hmm. So how do we go back to this customer and retarget this customer to actually complete the action? Mm. So there's a lot aspect of gamification that we've done as Dive Marketing. There's an aspect of structured campaigns that we do, be it on ground, be it digital, be it ATL. So there's a way we structure our communications for brands, and that has to have a creative aspect of it. Okay. Because you don't go to this customer like, let me ask you a question. Why would I leave a certain, for example, if I shop in Carrefour, why do I leave to QuickMart? Tell me why it should come to your brand. If I bet with a particular brand, okay, why should I go to your brand? What makes me make that move? Okay, so if there's other misses and they need to be addressed, of course the customer will always move to where they value. Okay, so we try as a Dive Marketing to make sure we also don't start the story where we start the story at the end. We look at the customer coming back. What is the issue? Okay. Then we address it. You work it backwards. Yes. So that's why now we sit down with creative. And you'll be surprised if today, even in KOFISI, you sit down with guys not in marketing, just guys in operations, and you sit them down. The creative ideas that you're going to generate from there, you'll be surprised. So that's why I tell people sometimes randomize, just rotate and give people idea, execute. Even guys in the food and beverages, just sit them, just ask them a question and how they can respond. Out of that, you pick different ideas. Okay, so we call it cross-pollination of ideas. Sometimes you pick an idea from different departments, and out of those ideas, look at what GA Insurance did. Okay, try to address the ChatGPT. Please just know, so those blowouts and so on. Out of box kind of thinking and execution creativity. Yeah. Okay, and many brands have done that. Yeah. Right. So as Dive Marketing, we try to immerse ourselves to make sure brands, for whatever brand we are working with, they get value for their money. Right. Yeah. Speaking of ChatGPT, as AI-generated content is now becoming mainstream, we are losing trust. We don't know what's fake, what's real. Yeah. Deep fakes. We have everything now auto-generated online. It's going to be harder to even, earn trust with the audience, even if you did the cleanest of content. Yes. It will actually be so good, it's borderline suspected to be AI. So how do we ensure that AI doesn't come in between our creative output, or how do we enhance it in our work so that it doesn't dilute our originality, but also helps us, as you had mentioned earlier, technology being a very important aspect of this, level of business that you do? I think AI is not coming to replace creativity. Okay? There's an aspect of human that it's going to be relatable. Okay? So basically, AI cannot replace creativity because there's a human aspect needed. Okay? AI can't tell a story. Okay? Brands need to tell a story. AI will just give you what has been fed, let's say 2021 and up to now. Okay? So AI will not replace, but look at it this way. It's not about the quantity of content that you can generate through AI. It is about the content that is memorable. So we've just spoken about GA right now. We all relate, okay? So GA, in that aspect, someone I really adore in the marketing field. He tried to run an analysis on ChatGPT about GA at that time. And GA generated different scripts that can be used in creativity. And one of it, the AI was saying that it's 8th, and actually these guys are claiming to be 3rd position in general insurance and so forth. So what did they do? They went back and just tried, I don't know whether I call it banter in their online space, but they tried, you look how they were communicating and how they were trying to cement their position at 3rd.
It's sort of like brainwashing AI.
Yes, and it was like, please remind ChatGPT that we are the 3rd. Please remind. Who is going to remind AI?
Yeah.
So now that's where creativity comes in. You can't replace creativity. AI will always be there. It will help you in your draft, coming up with your draft for marketing, but it will require you, a creative team, to sit down and emphasize what is going naturally. It can make the pointers, but the pointers that are going to make sense comes from the creativity, because you need to address a problem. And I would say this: if, for example, today brands wants to address the Gen Zs, okay, look at it, Gen Zs. Today, AI cannot speak the language Gen Zs are speaking. Okay, so if you need to localize your content, okay, AI will not localize our content. So if you need to speak to the Gen Zs in Kenya, they don't speak the same language in Gen Zs in South Africa, in Nigeria, in Uganda, in Rwanda. So if you tell me I'm an agency in Dive Marketing, we are soon opening offices in different markets. The way we handle different brands here, targeting a certain sector, let's say Gen Zs, the way we come up with the creative concepts for Kenya is not the same way we're going to come up with the concepts in Rwanda. Right. It has to address the lingo, the marketing lingo in that particular area. Today you will go out there and compare with a millennial. But sometimes when Gen Z speaks, sometimes I look at, am I a fossil or what? Because sometimes I'm not understanding what exactly these guys are talking about. Yeah. So AI is not here. So AI is here to make creativity work.
Yeah.
Okay? It's here to help them work better and execute their campaigns better and their creative ideas better. But it's not here to replace them, because there's a human aspect of it that is needed, like storytelling. There's like whatever we are talking about Gen Zs. It's hard to craft. AI doesn't understand even what...
even AI wouldn't understand what the Gen Zs are saying. Right.
Yes. So like 14 supu. Meaning 40 years. Yeah. AI will not interpret that. Yeah. But we can easily use that 14 supu to mean different things when you're communicating.
You're doing a campaign.
Exactly.
Right.
So I don't see, for me, anybody who is scared about AI then is somewhere else. Yeah. Because if we just
probably doesn't even know how to use it.
Exactly. So when I hear people talking about AI, I'm looking like, do you guys understand the power of this tool? Okay. Yeah. So right now we even have AIs that do creatives. Okay. But they generate just generic. That's why it's called a generic AI. Yeah. Okay. Generative AI. So it's generated based on what has been fed.
Already fed into the system.
Into the system. Right. So looking at it, these outside the box ideas that we can execute in the creativity. Actually, there are people who should not even worry about it. It's the creative guys. It's the guys in the marketing. Because the times are evolving every day. The consumer has evolved. So the way we used to speak to consumers in the 90s is not the same way today. So you have to immerse yourself differently. So AI is here to help us in the drafts, in everything, but it's not going to take our jobs.
Okay. Yeah. As a business leader, when you have teams from Dive Marketing to Gaming Newsbyte working with creatives, whether it's agencies, how do you see creativity placed as? Is it a skill that you can pick someone randomly and train them to be creative, or is it, a mindset that maybe you need to nurture over time? Is it a skill someone comes with? Are we born creative? Do we show up creative, or are we trained to be creative?
Nice. I think I would say both. So a skill can be acquired. Okay, you go to school, you learn how to use a tool. like the way you've learned how to use your laptop, okay? The way we can train people to use HubSpot. Right now, Dive Marketing using HubSpot, and we used to use Salesforce, okay, in our analysis as a CRM. So you can be trained to gain a skill, okay? So the other one is now, if it's not a skill, so if it's a mindset, I would say mindset, it's more into, there's an aspect of leadership that is involved and culture in the organization, okay? So people always say culture is strategy for breakfast. That's true, because any organizations without culture is almost dead. And there are different organizations, culture that exist. I want to dwell there. The hierarchy, the whatever, the market and all those. So depending on the creativity, the people who are in the creative, I think they need to be given space to express themselves. Mostly creativity thrives where curiosity is safe. Okay? I would say where failure is not fatal, or where failure you are not scared to try. Okay, if you try and fail, is actually part of creativity. I've seen guys who come to the organization, they try concepts, and the concepts they no longer work, and we go back to the drawing board. So you can get a brief from a client. Okay, so you work on the brief, you respond to the client, and the client will say, "Oh, this is hogwash." There's one client who told us, "We need a wow concept." So tell me, how do you start? You have a brief, but we need an outside the box concept.
Yeah.
So what do? You throw it to the creative guys. Say, this has already been done by the client. This has already been done by the client. This. So what if the wow concept now it's outside box? It's not an AI generated, because already that is already existing. So thinking outside the box is you let these people. It's a mindset if you're going to allow them to work on the creatives without your involvement. And you allow them to express themselves. If the idea is declined, don't shout at them. Don't make that person feel like a failure. Okay? So curiosity is good. So where the curiosity is safe, failure then should not be fatal. Then you allow these people to express themselves.
Okay.
And you will, like I was giving you, you'll be surprised the kind of ideas we can get here near KOFISI 9. Right now, we shoot an idea right now. People will just be giving us the ideas. Right. You'll be surprised the kind of ideas we can get.
Yeah, if you wanted to shoot a film in here, I'm sure.
Yeah, exactly. Flying. Yes, exactly. So I will say skills can be taught, but mindset, it's about the culture and the leadership. Leadership plays a lot in creativity.
Okay.
Do you let people express themselves? Like, I have this idea, I think it can work for this particular brand. Because you today, you can even walk into a client for a pitch, okay, without even a brief, but with a creative idea that can work for that brand, and they will give you audience. Okay. And that's how, right now, I would say that's how agencies and marketing agencies need to do. You work on a creative idea and you go to a brand without even a brief. You just, you're waiting for a brief. You tell them, we have the brief. We already know your pain points. We already know this is going to work for you. And right now, in the space of gaming, there's a lot of issues with retention. So there's a lot of influx in acquisition, but retention is a problem. So you get like 1 million registrations, but only 100,000 are retaining. So what is the problem? So you have to address the retention bit of. So you look at your funnel. So it's no longer the awareness bit, is now the issue of retention, which is after acquisition. So how do I retain these customers? That's where loyalty comes in. Okay. And now that's why you've had conversations happening in the sustainability bit of most of the companies. You're already on the top. So how do I sustain myself up there? So if you are top in whatever industry, how do you sustain yourself there? Okay. So now it brings an aspect of loyalty. And this loyalty is trying to address the retention bit of it. So I would say the skill and mindset, both. Yes.
Right. You've mentioned retention. That is numbers, yeah?
Yes.
1 million come in, you only have 100,000 at the end of the month, say.
Yeah.
That's data. Is there a sweet spot between data-driven decision-making as a leader on that level versus pure creative instinct, in that if you're doing a campaign to retain your clientele, do you look at the numbers first, or do you get creative, as you said, throw it in there, do a brief, and then execute?
I would say use data. Data is good, because any decision that you make without data, sometimes it will not be a very firm decision. Okay, so we use data to understand patterns and spends of different customers. So if, for example, you have an issue, let me go back to an e-commerce, for example. An e-commerce, for example, you're shopping with Carrefour. Okay, I'll use it. I will use Carrefour because I have done some work for them, and I also shop so much for them. Okay. And there's an issue of you need to shop. Okay, so at the end of it, they always collect data, and they know your shopping patterns. So data is there to address your patterns, but now instincts is there, whereby now do you use creativity to address the patterns. Okay? So you have to use the creativity bit to address the patterns. So if the customer came in, he never checked out. Okay, he showed all those things, but never checked out. How do we communicate to these guys? So we use that data that we acquired and say, out of 10,000 who came to the app to use the app, only actually 100 checked out. So what could be the problem? Is it a user journey issue? So now creativity, how do we minimize the user journey? Because sometimes the user journey can be long and I'm tired. I need to shop very fast and go. So how do I minimize the user journey? Some user journeys require your email, they require your ID, blah, blah, blah. How do we shorten that in the age of, especially in Kenya, we don't require all those, that complicated user journey because our phone number is registered. Okay, we don't require any more details from me. The phone number is connected to my ID.
And your ID is connected to your carrier.
Exactly.
Your carrier is connected.
Yes. So the user journey here can be different from a user journey in Uganda, where the mobile money is still growing.
Okay. In
different markets where the mobile money, like Nigeria, the card does very well. Than Kenya. Kenya, if you dare ask people how many people in this office have their actually credit cards, all debit cards. They'll tell you, no, I have an M-Pesa. Because the M-Pesa have a credit card. So M-Pesa gives you your debit card. It's there. And you can use it. I've used it in Dubai. And it becomes easier. So data is there. Data is there to make us make informed decisions and instincts. So there's a connecting and instincts, of course, will help us transform the creative ideas that we have. Yes.
Right. It's been quite some time. I think I have one last question. As you said earlier, there's a lot you can speak in this space. I'm sure we'll continue this discussion either on another offering of this very series.
For sure.
Or even more within KOFISI, given that you already are family. You're a member here at KOFISI. Yes. You've spoken about the importance of people. When I was taking a look at your profile, people are a big deal in terms of success in your businesses and ventures. Just an advice to our community at KOFISI, community of businesses, on how they can harness marketing, not just to sell, but again, as you mentioned, creating loyal customers is very important. That's where, also culture comes in with engaged communities. How can they do that so that, it's communities forming around their brands and execution becomes, I think, very simple in successive campaigns?
Nice. I think most of the brands are struggling with community engagement. Okay, so building your society, be it social media, be it whatever channel. But I would say this: building the community is the hardest. Okay, because you're building loyalty to your brand. So most brands are transactional. So transactional, what do I mean? Mostly is transactional ends when there's an exchange of money. Okay, so I've bought a product, I've paid you.
Done.
But building a community, it is beyond that. Okay, it is building a story. There's a story about why I should come back to you again and purchase and We continue like that. So most of the brands building community has been the struggle, but it's the easiest way to do. Okay, so, and I would advocate for brands, and I would request brands to try not to be transactional and try to build a community. And a community, be it in the gaming space, be it in the e-commerce platforms, be it in the retail space. Right now, if you go, I will use Carrefour again. Mm-hmm. Okay, so if you go to their app, they'll tell you, refer a friend. Okay, you earn extra points. Or you earn actually a certain discount. So what are you trying to do to the existing customer? You are trying to do retention. That actually I can earn more money if I actually bring. Over. So in the gaming space, we've launched something called Refer a Friend Bonus. So whereby it's like a network marketing. So the more people I bring, I continue earning from them. So their losses becomes my profit. Okay? Yeah. So same way in the retail space, same way to the e-commerce. Okay? So I would say people concept are there to be borrowed. Okay? You are not inventing the wheel. You are there to borrow some concept in the market. Okay? So I would say brands need to tell a story and try to work on their retention model. So what exactly do I need to do to make my clients not to move to another brand? And that's where brands are thriving. And that's where sustainability is very key. Okay. And it is the hardest thing to talk about.
Right.
Yes.
Thank you very much, Geoffrey Muindi.
Thank you.
Yeah. This has been great. And again, this will be online on Spotify, KOFISI Connect, and YouTube as well, KOFISI Africa. That was Geoffrey Muindi, founder and cheerleader at Dive Marketing, and as well as Gaming Newsbyte. I'll see you in the next episode.
Thank you, Richie.